Recording in progress.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to our February 7th, 2023 Spokane County Commissioners 2 o'clock consent agenda meeting. So were there any written comments? No. Okay, there were no written comments for today. Just to state that, we do start with our open public forum, so that is for anything that is not on our agenda today. And I do have Mr. Glenn Stockwell who's going to come and speak. So I will open up the open public forum and have Mr. Stockwell come up. And if you would just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Glenn Roy Stockwell, and I'm the chairman of Washington State Economic Development. I've spoken before you. I'm here to promote that there's over $2 billion sitting on a federal table that's available to put in the project that I keep promoting. And it's sitting on the table right now. And what I'm promoting, if you don't mind, I'll just read through here so I don't get lost. Currently, there's a population base in the United States of 336 million some odd people. That's of yesterday. Google works well. Anyway, this is the first time in my lifetime that Washington State has two representatives, Senator Patty Murray and Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers, are sitting in congressional leadership positions that they can each influence their parties and leaders and obtain the federal construction monies promised by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I know for a fact Patty and Cathy have spent years supporting the total completion of the entire project. Commissioners, would you agree to have Jeff McMorris draft a letter to both Patty and Cathy requesting they each reach across the aisle and agree to work jointly in obtaining the $2 billion of federal bipartisan dollars to be placed into a Spokane County non-revocable bipartisan trust account? Would you, all of you, county commissioners, lead by example and sign the letter that he drafts? We don't want these dollars to be controlled by Jay Inslee. Regrettably, history shows he has had 10 plus years to obtain the monies, and he has failed. 36 years ago, Senator Majority Leader Jim West contacted me requesting assistance in obtaining rail long-haul disposal for Spokane County. I was the person that had a landfill that could have taken all your waste, and that's why he contacted me. Years ago, Mary Verner and the city council was having budget problems. Anyway, I skipped down through here. I can show you how you can save $50 million on your next contract if you're willing to consider alternatives, and they'll be viable. 35 years ago I did this. I was much younger. I looked better in the suit and everything. But anyway, the long and short of it is I can show you because I've done this before. Is my strong personal opinion that if done correctly, there is approximately $8 million that would be available to the Spokane County Commissioners to pay for Spokane County promotions of bringing a bipartisan project to Washington State, keeping the Snake and Columbia Rivers in place and providing new, cheap, abundant electricity for electrical vehicles in Washington, Idaho, and Oregon is of extreme importance. If the county commissioners would be willing to form a joint venture with the 29 regional tribes and with Avista, there is a new salmon project that Washington State Economic Development would like to propose to you. All the facilities are currently in place. The staffs are in place. We just need to go about it differently. I used to commercial fish all the way from northern Oregon to southeast Alaska. I've got the experience on that.
Thank you. And your 3 minutes is up. So your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So
Thank you for your time.
And I think we all received a copy of the letter. So thank you very much for testifying this morning.
Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, second call for anyone wishing to testify on the open public forum. Anyone online? Nope. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify at the open public forum? Seeing none, I will close the open public forum and look to my fellow commissioners.
Commissioner Cuney, I move to approve items 2 and 3, including all sub-items on today's 2 p.m. consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
I'm not going to get in the way of the seconds today. So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on items number 2 or 3 and all sub-items on today's agenda?
Madam
Commissioner Mulder.
Chair, I wanted a reminder on item 2K and 2M. I don't know if I've been briefed. I couldn't remember on K what that was related to, the $3,400 per month over the next 3 years was, I think I remember it, but I just need a reminder as to what that item was with the sheriff, I believe the sheriff's department.
Mr. Simmons?
I'm sorry.
In the sheriff's department absence, let's see, item
K, 2K.
2K, this was briefed by the sheriff's department a week ago on Monday, and it's an ongoing contract that they have for their kind of quality assurance work. That's probably the extent of it I know right now. It wasn't a big dollar amount. I think it's.
I remember, but I just could not remember the details.
I think I probably remember as much as you do.
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
I
about-
asked
oh,
this morning, and I was told it had to do with making sure that we continue to obtain accreditation for forensics, is what I was told. And I see
Okay.
some heads nodding
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Thanks. And then,
That's K, not M.
right, and then on number 2M, I don't believe I've been briefed on this one. It could have been before my time, but I was hoping to get some more information about this contract with MacGyver Solutions for the Ranger task vehicle, utility vehicle.
Commissioner, or Mr. Simmons, sorry.
No, not a problem with that. So just a little bit of what I know about this, Commissioner, and certainly understand if there's a desire for more information. It hadn't been briefed before. This was a request for a purchase, and it was a bid that was placed by our Department of Emergency Management using grant dollars from Homeland Security to purchase essentially what is commonly known as a utility vehicle, UTV, and it has law enforcement options on there with lights and sirens and roll cages and things like that. And it also has some utilization, I believe, for our explosives arm of our sheriff's department. That's what I know about that, and if the sheriff's department was here, I think we could get some more information.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hold up the process, but I just appreciate getting that information before the meeting. So I guess I would appreciate just putting that off for 1 week so we can get a briefing paper, so I can learn more about the grant source and the expectations, and if there's any matching funds that go along with it, and the purpose of the vehicle from the sheriff's department.
And typically, I don't know if we were briefed on, a lot of times we accept the grants. So again, I don't know if this was something that was a grant that we had already accepted last year that I don't know about.
Heather Arnold is nodding her head. We did accept the grant. This would be actually to purchase it, but if there's a desire by the commissioners to get more information before you act on it, we can relay that back to our DEM and Sheriff's Department
So
and get it.
maybe if I could do a quick follow-up. So Heather, was this one of the grants that you had brought to the office to have us sign off on for this next year? Correct. Okay. Okay, well then since it's already a grant that was approved and we've already had it in the budget, and I will support it, but I would ask the Sheriff's Department to come and brief these items with briefing papers in the future. So, thank you.
Yes, and traditionally, we do have that two-touch, and then the agendas do come out Friday afternoon, so the opportunity is on Monday or Tuesday if there's any additional items that we need to ask further questions of. That's another touch point that we as commissioners can ask for further information on during miscellaneous, or we can ask Scott to have somebody come in on Mondays or Tuesdays, even though under miscellaneous, since it wouldn't be on the agenda for any of these items that you don't, because we want to make sure you're comfortable.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve items 2 and 3 and all sub-items as printed on the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will then take us to our public hearing item, number 4, which is to amend Chapter 1.10 of the Spokane County Code concerning Fair and Exposition Center Advisory Board. Oh, I was thinking it was Jeff McMorris coming up. No. Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure, Chris Davis? Okay, thank you. If you,
I'll quickly cover it, and it's great to have a lawyer here if you have questions.
okay,
So this is the Fair Board. It's a public hearing because it touches county code, and that requires a public hearing. Some of the boards and commissions that we've been changing touch county code, some do not. This one is Code 1.10.020. It is making the fair and, this is all based due to the change of composition from the board here from 3 to 5 members. This will create an 8-member board. Previously, it was a 7-member, and it will be 5 chosen by each of you, 2 at large, and the 8th member is a youth person. The way the Fair Board has functioned, they do have a youth advisory board at the fair, and the chair or co-chair of that particular board is usually the liaison. And because of the way the youth board works, the youth position is a 1-year term because they rotate through there, but that person can serve additional years if they're still on that board. All the other positions will be a 4-year term. And one other change, this is the one where we had to deal with the term limits. You'll remember that discussion last week. So we struck the language on term limits to be consistent with that resolution that Gina was great at helping us find. And so that's the main pieces of this. It puts us to a 8-member board, 7 is the standard with the youth, and then Sarah Campbell, who I mentioned yesterday, you'll see coming before you as an applicant for that youth position.
very good. Thank you. Any questions for Jeff? Oh, Commissioner French.
So Jeff, refresh my memory, is this one of those boards where each commissioner appoints somebody within their district, or each commissioner just has to appoint somebody countywide?
Each commissioner appoints somebody countywide. The direction we were given from the board was unless statute requires a district-specific appointment, all the boards and commissions that are coming before you that do not have that requirement, each of you can choose whoever you want in or out of your district. They do have to live in the county, of course.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. McMorris? Okay. This is a public hearing item, so I will open up the public hearing for item number 4A. First call for anyone wishing to testify. Second call for anyone wishing to testify on item number 4A. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify. Seeing none in the audience and none online, I will close the public testimony and look to my fellow commissioners.
Commissioner CUNY, I move to approve public hearing item number 4A as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for item number 4A. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. That will then take us to item number 5, which is a by-leave item on today's agenda. This is a resolution in the matter concerning the appointment of Brooke Baker Spink to the Spokane Airport Board.
Commissioner CUNY, I move to approve by leave item number 5, a resolution in the matter concerning the appointment of Brooke Baker Spink to Spokane Airport Board.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Since we are making a decision, we do have to open this up to public testimony. So is there any further discussion before I open it up for public testimony?
Oh, are you looking for discussion on the motion
Yes.
before? Okay, I just wanted to thank all the folks who applied to the airport board, and I do support the motion. And I just was very impressed by all the applicants. It was a very difficult decision, but I'm so glad to see so many highly qualified individuals who stepped forward and were willing to go through the interview process. I learned a lot about folks in our community who have some amazing assets to share, and I'm hoping folks will apply again for this board, and they'll also apply for other boards in our community where they can make a really amazing difference with all of their skills and experiences. So thank you. I mentioned at the meeting that I wanted to appreciate Commissioner French and Jordan for encouraging us to kind of open up the process again and get more applications. And I really appreciated our clerk's time in putting together the interviews. And I think that went really well. Chair CUNY, I think you did a great job keeping us on time and making sure we gave equal time to each applicant. So thank you.
Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make a brief comment on this item. I want to say I'm excited to vote in favor of Brooke Baker Spink to join the airport board. She's an experienced, energetic, and emerging business leader in our region. In my view, the timing is right. Her knowledge of building construction will be an asset to the airport at a time when, with the help of a grant from the bipartisan infrastructure law, the airport's undergoing terminal expansion. So I appreciate Ms. Baker Spink's stated commitment to diversity as well, her regional economic development experience with GSI and the Valley Chamber of Commerce, her past internship with Boeing, and her relationship with Fairchild as an honorary commander. I just wanted to say I appreciate my colleagues working together to adopt a process for this important appointment, which I believe has been transparent and has led us to a good outcome for the airport and the community at large. And we had really outstanding applicants, I believe, including Mr. Simpson, whose work and experience is so important for growing our economy, Ms. Fukai, who has an incredible resume and legacy of service, Ms. Shea, who brought a great regional perspective, and Mr. Haasi's energy and commitment can't be denied as well. And I just wanted to note, he said during his interview, quote, "I always get my 10,000 steps in by 9 a.m. So I want to know what his secret was, because that was pretty amazing how active he is. So we could only choose one. My vote's a positive reflection on Ms. Baker Spink and not a negative reflection on any other candidate. And like Commissioner Waldruff, I would encourage each of them to consider applying for future positions. I hope they'll stay engaged. It was a pleasure to hear from all of them, and I look forward to supporting Ms. Baker Spink today. Thank you.
Commissioner French.
So I will join my fellow commissioners in thanking all of those that applied for this position. The airport board and under the leadership of Mr. Larry Crowder has accomplished some incredible feats for a community the size of Spokane to be number 4 in the nation for on time. At the gate is not something that comes easy, but with the leadership and the staff that we have at the airport, they've done an incredible job. I want to, we had 5 good candidates, and getting down to the top 2 was a challenge. I think the top 2 was Tom Simpson and Brooke Baker Spink. Both of them are outstanding candidates, and I'm happy to support Ms. Baker Spink to be the next member of the airport board. I think the one thing that she said yesterday in the interview process that I really took to heart was that she's the next generation of leadership for Spokane, and I couldn't agree with her more. I think it gives me encouragement and hope that we have folks that are willing to step forward and help build this community and continue the great work that's going on and stuff. So I look forward to working with her on the airport board.
Everybody else is chiming in. No, I'm going to vote in favor of this motion. I think Brooke will be a tremendous asset and addition to the airport board. But also I want to echo the remarks that have been said earlier to thank everyone else who did apply that was not chosen. We had a fantastic batch of applicants to choose from. And I think regardless of what way we went, it was going to be a victory for the airport board. But I'll be voting yes.
And I guess I would just ditto what everyone has said, and I think we said it earlier at our morning meeting, that I think this process ended up very good. So thank you to Commissioner French and Commissioner Jordan for making that happen. I think Amber said that this morning, so I concur with that it's been a good process. We definitely had additional people apply, and I think it showed that we did have 5 really great candidates, and I am going to be happy to support Brooke Baker Spinks this afternoon as well. So, any other discussion before I open it up for public testimony? No. Okay, then since it is a by-leave item and it's not on our normal agenda, and we're taking it separately, I will open it up for public testimony. So anyone wishing to testify on our by-leave item 5. Second call for anyone wishing to testify on by-leave item 5. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify. Seeing no one in the audience and no one online, I will close the public testimony and I will call for the vote. Since we have a motion and a second already, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. That's our regular agenda. Is there any other items? Jared, do we want to, Commissioner Jordan, are we okay to use your signature stamp for the records today?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I do know that there's, Jared, we've got the letter that, I don't know how, if we want to just take a look at it, or at this point, I think if you want to just discuss some of the changes that you've made quickly, and then I know that we will not be able to, we're not going to be making a decision on this today, so it'll be coming back before us next week.
Yes, and I will just add that I did have a conversation with Gavin Cooley during the break. He had indicated that during the break, all he, Teresa, and Rick Romero had taken a look at the changes, and not only did they accept them, but they thought they were all good ideas. Those changes have been forwarded to the city of Spokane Valley for them to look at the changes that we had. I did talk to the PIO out there, and it turns out that a lot of their concerns were the same concerns that were expressed during our public meeting this morning. As far as the changes made to the joint statement, which you have in front of you, I did my best to reflect the changes that were requested, both in grammar and syntax and a few other things, but also the overall theme of less commitment around a authority and more focus towards an overall effort. And I just kind of took that theme throughout and took the liberty of changing all of those type of instances. So I think a big one would be the subline. I tried to meld everybody's thoughts onto that to try to encompass what everybody had expressed as far as their desire. Incorporated both Commissioner Jordan and Commissioner French's comments into the last paragraph of the first section. Changed the headline of the collaborative authority to about our collaborative effort. I felt like we should just get rid of the second sentence in that first paragraph. It just didn't meld with anything that the commissioners were talking about this morning. We didn't specifically address that one, but I took the liberty of deleting that. The rest on that first page were just kind of discussed, and I followed the instructions that were provided.
And Jared, just to,
Yep.
So I think this, I mean, to me, it's a great edit, but it's going to be going, we will not be the only ones looking at this. So now that we've edited, it will be going forward to the city of Spokane Valley, the city of Spokane.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention one thing that I did also mention to Gavin, that we were not extremely comfortable with the deadline of the 10th, and he said he understood that. He understood, but he's still shooting for it, but he understands the sentiment.
But we will not be able to come together and approve this before the 10th, which is Friday, since this is the last chance that we would have to do that without a special meeting.
Yep.
And I think, as we talked about earlier this morning, that without, with knowing that there was some revisions that were being made, that they needed to be approved by several groups, as the draft shows, that I think those groups will want to then look at the revisions that we're proposing at this point in time, and they may be additional changes that are coming to it. So I anticipate that this would come back before us next Monday, unless Commissioner French.
So, and I agree with everything you just said and the timing and stuff. I just wanted to compliment Jared. I think you captured everything that we said this morning. And as I've read through this, I don't know that there's any additional edits that I would want to make and stuff. So I'm comfortable with the product you've produced. So whenever my fellow commissioners are comfortable moving forward, I just want to let you know that I am too. Thank you.
Yeah, and as Mary's alluded to, there's likely going to be a new version that comes in front of you that it not only incorporates these changes, but the other changes. This is probably a far from over product.
Yes.
We're not going to be the only ones with edits, I'm sure, but there is one under the about our collaborative effort category, second paragraph. So it now reads, one initiative we will be assessing, comma, modeled after. So maybe assessing options modeled after, assessing something like that. There needs to be another word there that will be, so one initiative we will be assessing. So is it just?
It's,
Or
but then it refers
no,
back.
I get
So,
what you're saying there.
yeah.
Never mind. Strike what I said. Not asking for any more strikes, sorry.
Yeah, and I think if this was going to be our letter individually, that's a whole different story than when it's being asked to be signed on by all these different entities, so, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's why
as I was talking the deadline issue with Mr. Cooley, he did mention that as a way to bypass the deadline, wondering if we could just get one signature, and I think I I took the liberty of saying that the board was more interested in signing on this as a whole, as long as these kind of changes were being made. I may have overspoke on that front, but he did mention that being a potential way forward.
I think that, the whole point is to try to have this be a collaborative opportunity, and I think we all need to sign on to it as a group.
Yeah.
That I think having each one do their own individual letter is not going to have the same emphasis as everyone signing on together.
I'd
And
agree.
I think it's one of those where I understand timing, but we've also got to meet the timing of the different legislative bodies that are being asked to sign on to this.
And he did say that he would accept a extension of that deadline. He just wasn't excited about it.
Yeah.
No, our,
Commissioner
our
Waldron.
first challenge, can we, and the City of the Valley, and the City of Spokane Council, and Mayor's Office, all agree to a joint statement? So if we can do that,
Yeah.
but we got to get that right first.
Yes.
So, thank you, Jared. I actually, very, very good job. I have a, down, when we get the next draft back from the other jurisdictions, I think we'll be really close. So thank you for taking the extra time to work on this today. Really appreciate that.
And I would say if anyone does see any additional changes, go ahead and let Jared know, and he can add it to this draft. It doesn't have to be approved by the board to be a draft to go forward. So if there's any other changes, I think that'd be great that anyone can just get those to Jared. And thank you for working diligently on this over the last couple hours, because we know it was a tight time frame. But I do think this is one of the things that we really do want to get right in the community as we move forward to look at what this process could look like for the future. Okay, any other miscellaneous items? Scott?
None for me, Commissioner.
Okay. Then with that, I will close the meeting for today, and we'll sign some documents. And thank you, Commissioner Jordan, for letting us use your stamp again.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.